Welcome to week 11 of organizational behavior. This is our fall 2014 quarter. And so we're in the final week now. This week, you're going to complete the final test in the class. You're going to submit your final assignment and can participate in the final discussion forum. So we've covered a lot over these last weeks about organizational behavior, and we've examined how that applies to fictional organizations in a film, and we've also applied what we've learned to a real organization that you've written about in week 10. So one last area for organizational behavior I want to look at is the design of firms and why organizational designs are different. And there's a lot of factors that go into how an organization is designed and what's the most effective design for a specific organization. So we'll talk about a few of those. um, a lot of this is in chapter 15, so which is part of what you're going to review for your test, chapters 15 through 19. So when we look at the factors that affect different organizational designs, some of those factors are the external environment. So the external environment involves who the competitors of the firm, the regulators who might impose rules on the firm's customers, the firm's suppliers. Who are all the people that interact with this firm? In what environment does the firm operate? So, depending on whether it's a very complex external environment or a very static external environment, will affect the design of the organization. So when you have a structured organizational design, a lot of times it's not as complex or diverse. It's basically a static situation. And whereas if it's a highly complex organization with a highly complex environment that it operates in, and a highly diverse environment that it operates in that's dynamic and changing, a lot of times it has to be a more flexible organizational design. So whether the organizational design is more structured or more flexible really has a bearing on what the external environment is and who are the players that are involved with the firm and the firm's operation. Another characteristic that is going to affect the organizational design is the actual type of work that it is doing, that the firm does. Now, you have some firms that require a lot of problem solving and are solving very unique problems that require creativity, and provide new problems every day for employees to face. Whereas some firms are doing work that is somewhat routine. It's pretty much the same from day to day. It's easy to analyze and see exactly what they're doing. So again, that's going to lead to either a more structured design when you're kind of have more day-to-day work that's more routine, versus a more flexible design where a lot of creative problem solving is required. So the firm is going to require a lot more flexibility. You could also look at the people who are attracted to work in the firm. Whereas the first point I was talking about the external environment, like who interacts with the firm. With by people, I'm talking about the people who are inside the company. Do they like to solve logical problems? Do they like to work alone? Or do they like to be more creative and work in interactive teams? So there's a certain type of people that are attracted to work at any given company, whether that be Google or BP or Ford Motor Company. There's certain people that are attracted to that firm, and often that is related to the structural design of the firm. So that's something to consider when you're analyzing the structural design of an organization. You also want to look at the size of the organization. Medium to large firms tend to have a more structured design, whereas a small to medium firm tend to be more flexible. And of course, there's exceptions to every rule, but generally a small organization is able to be very flexible with their organizational structure. Whereas larger firms are more structured with very specific layers and spans of authority. Something else you want to look at is the period in which the company was founded. A lot of firms have values, goals, and mission statements that are founded in the period of time in which the company was created and the values that were important at that time. Whereas technological firms that are new in the marketplace, that were newly founded and creating new technology, tend to have a different focus, more about flexibility and individualism, problem solving. Whereas firms that were founded 100 years ago are more about stability. So, something to think about when you're analyzing the organizational design of a firm. Also, when you think about the period in which it was founded, you also have to think about the actual founder. And so firms will change and grow, but the fact that a firm was started by um, a bureaucratic person or firm versus maybe a couple of kids who dropped out of college is going to change the landscape of how that firm continues throughout its life. Whether it's going to focus on bringing new products to market or whether it's going to focus on bureaucratic style of just simply focusing on efficiency. So there's a lot to look at when you think about the organizational design of a firm. And when you consider these factors, plus all of the different things we've talked about throughout the course, it'll help you as you continue with your career or education to be able to analyze a firm and understand how their environment and the people and the size all factor into the organizational design of that firm and help you to relate to what it takes to be successful in that particular organization and what behaviors are needed in order to excel in that particular firm. So that's just something I wanted to give you in closing for our class for this week. And I hope you have enjoyed learning about organizational behavior as much as I have. And I hope you have something that you can take with you right away, whether you're continuing on in school next quarter, or if you're graduated, or if you are already in the workforce. Hopefully, you've learned something that'll help you become more effective in your organizations. So I will be available all the way until the quarter ends by phone or email. My contact information is right there inside the course shell, and I look forward to talking with you in the discussion area.